Sharks have spent 400 million years perfecting the art of predation, streamlined into lethal efficiency. But then, nature did something unthinkable. It twisted evolution's masterpiece into a creature almost too bizarre to believe. A shark with a head so deformed it looks like it shouldn't even swim straight. Why create a hammer-shaped monster when every law of hydrodynamics says it should fail? As scientists dig into this evolutionary oddity, the real question isn't how hammerhead sharks survive, but what hidden forces make their biology so crucial to the ocean's most mind-bending mysteries. This is where the search for answers begins. Bonnethead sharks cruise the shallows with a look that borders on ordinary. Their heads are only slightly widened, curving gently at the edges, more like a spade than a sledgehammer. Among the hammerhead family, the bonnethead is the outlier, a subtle deviation from the classic shark silhouette. At first glance, it is easy to mistake them for just another coastal hunter, blending into the seagrass beds of the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific. But a closer look reveals the first crack in the myth of the perfect, streamlined shark. The bonnethead's head stretches just enough to hint at something unusual, a quiet rebellion against 400 million years of streamlined design. This gentle arc is not for show. The bonnethead's cephalofoil, though modest, still sets it apart from its ancestors. Where most sharks evolved pointed snouts for slicing through water, the bonnethead's head has started to flatten and spread. It is not an accident of nature. It is the first step down a path that will lead to some of the ocean's most mind-bending anatomical experiments. Evolution did not leap straight to the outlandish. It took a cautious detour, testing the waters with the bonnethead's understated hammer. Unlike its more extreme relatives, the bonnethead remains small and approachable, rarely exceeding 3 feet in length. Its eyes, set a little wider than those of typical sharks, give it a curious expression, a far cry from the predatory glare of the great hammerhead. This is the hammerhead family's entry-level model, a gentle introduction to a world where heads will soon stretch to impossible proportions. The bonnethead's subtle mutation is a quiet invitation to look closer, to wonder why evolution would begin to tamper with a design that already ruled the seas. As the journey continues, the strange becomes stranger, and the bonnethead's almost normal hammer is only the beginning. Perfection, in the animal kingdom, rarely lasts. For hundreds of millions of years, sharks have ruled the seas with a shape so refined it seems untouchable, sleek, tapered, all muscle and momentum. Yet, somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, a strange question surfaced. Why would nature twist a proven design, flattening the skull, stretching the eyes apart, and forging a head that looks less like a weapon and more like a mistake? The hammerhead's cephalofoil is no minor adjustment. In some species, it spans nearly half the shark's body length, an anatomical gamble that seems to fly in the face of everything we know about hydrodynamics. Ocean is not kind to experiments. Each extra inch of bone, every widened angle, comes at a cost. Water pushes back against the hammerhead's broad face, threatening to slow it down, to sap its energy, to expose it to predators that never strayed from the classic blueprint. The hammerhead's existence poses a riddle. Why would evolution risk deformity on a predator that already had the upper hand? What could possibly justify this leap into the bizarre? Every line of the hammerhead's skull whispers that something important lies hidden beneath the surface. The further the head stretches, the more it seems to defy logic. Eyes perched at the far ends, nostrils flared wide, a mouth tucked down below, a face that shouldn't work, but somehow does. It's as if the ocean is daring us to explain the unexplainable, to look past the obvious and search for the secret advantage buried in the hammer's shadow. The mystery deepens with each new species. Some heads grow wider, some flatter, some sprout odd scallops and notches. The hammerhead family tree is a record of anatomical rebellion, each branch a new attempt to solve a puzzle no one else could see. What drives this relentless distortion? What hidden benefit could be worth the risk of becoming a misfit in a world built for speed? The answer waits in the anatomy itself, a secret encoded in bone and cartilage just out of reach. Shark heads are supposed to be simple, pointed, narrow, built for speed. Then, about 20 million years ago, evolution started pushing boundaries. The smooth hammerhead appears first, a head that is wide, yes, but still within the realm of reason. Its cephalofoil stretches out, almost like a pair of wings, giving it a profile that is more aircraft than apex predator. These heads can span over a quarter of the shark's total body length. But the real shock comes when the great hammerhead enters the picture. The great hammerhead does not just flirt with the bizarre, it embraces it. Its hammer can reach widths that look cartoonish, with eyes perched at the farthest ends. In some adults, the distance between the eyes can approach 3 feet. That is the length of a baseball bat, just empty space between 2 eyes. No other shark has anything like it. The head alone can make up nearly half the length of the entire animal, creating a silhouette that should not be possible in a world obsessed with streamlining. But even the great hammerhead's proportions pale next to the winghead shark. In this species, the cephalofoil can stretch to an astonishing 50% of the shark's entire body length. Imagine a 5-foot shark with a hammer that spans 2.5 feet from tip to tip. The effect is grotesque, almost comical, a living experiment in anatomical excess. The winghead's eyes are so far apart they seem to belong to 2 different animals. Numbers like these do not fit the rules. They break them. No other family of sharks has ever produced such extreme head shapes, not in 400 million years of evolutionary trial and error. The hammerhead lineage stands alone, daring the ocean to explain how a predator with a 3-foot wide head could possibly survive. The facts demand an answer. What function could possibly justify this much anatomical risk? Hammerhead sharks face a problem that should have ended their experiment before it began. A head that wide, jutting out like the wings of a small airplane, ought to act like a brake in the water. Every stroke should waste energy. Every turn should drag. Yet hammerheads glide with a kind of grace that seems impossible for their shape. The secret is not just in the head itself, but in how they use their entire body as a moving solution to the drag problem. Instead of swimming upright like most sharks, hammerheads often roll their bodies onto their sides, sometimes holding this tilted posture for long stretches. This rolled swimming technique changes everything. By rolling, hammerheads position their tall dorsal fin like a sail, converting it into a lifting surface that offsets the drag of the head. The broad cephalofoil, once a liability, becomes part of a system that lets these sharks slip through the water with surprising efficiency. The energy cost drops. The hammer does not slow them down, it helps them maneuver in ways other sharks cannot match. Hydrodynamic studies have shown that this rolling motion reduces drag and saves energy, even with a head that looks like it should act as a parachute. The hammerhead's body becomes an engineering workaround, a living answer to the paradox of its own design. Instead of fighting the water, the shark uses it, twisting and rolling to turn disadvantage into advantage. This agility is not just a party trick. It lets hammerheads make sharp turns and sudden stops, dodging obstacles or chasing prey with a level of control that puts other sharks to shame. The solution is mechanical, but the mystery only deepens. Once the hammerhead solves the problem of swimming with a head like a wing, a new question surfaces. Why build such a platform in the first place? What could possibly require a head this wide, this strange, this perfectly tuned for something more than just movement? The answer lies in the sensors packed across its surface. An entire suite of biological tools waiting to be revealed. A hammerhead's head is more than a strange silhouette. It is a living sensor array, tuned to the secrets of the ocean floor. Stretching the eyes wide apart gives these sharks panoramic vision. With each eye perched at the farthest edge of the hammer, a hammerhead can scan almost the entire horizon at once. This is not just a wider field of view. The spacing allows for overlapping vision in front and behind, giving them a kind of depth perception nearly unheard of in the shark world. Where most sharks have blind spots, the hammerhead sees opportunity. But vision is just the beginning. The underside of that broad head is packed with thousands of tiny, gel-filled pores, called ampullae of Lorenzini. Each pore is a gateway to another sense, a way to read the faintest electrical signals. This is electroreception. Every living thing in the ocean, from a buried stingray to a wounded fish, leaks electricity with every heartbeat and muscle twitch. The hammerhead's ampullae are so dense, so finely tuned that they can pick up heartbeats hidden beneath a foot of sand. It is as if the shark can sense life itself pulsing below the surface. The hammerhead's nostrils, too, are set far apart, spaced along the wings of the hammer. This wide separation lets them track scents in stereo, following invisible trails of blood or chemical signals with uncanny precision. All these systems, vision, electroreception, and smell, are wired together in a head that acts more like a searchlight than a battering ram. Evolution did not just deform the shark's skull for show. It built a biological command center, a hub where every sense feeds into a single, predatory purpose. A stingray tries to vanish beneath a blanket of sand, trusting camouflage and venom to keep it safe. But the hammerhead does not hunt by sight alone. It sweeps the sea floor with that impossible head, picking up the faint electric pulse of a hidden heart. In a sudden rush, the shark pins the stingray flat with the full weight of its hammer, trapping the prey before it can even flick its tail. The stingray's barb snaps upward, a last-ditch defense. But the hammerhead is built for this fight. Divers have found barbs buried deep in the jaws of adult hammerheads, trophies of battles won. Scars of a predator that specializes in the dangerous and the difficult. This is not a one-trick hunter. Hammerheads have been caught with crabs, squid, and octopus in their bellies. They take sardines, catfish, croakers, and even small sharks. Some have been found with parts of their own kind inside, evidence that hunger trumps family ties in the open sea. Their menu reads like a dare. Whatever the ocean offers, the hammerhead will try to eat it. Freedivers trailing these sharks have watched the stingray hunt unfold in real time. The hammerhead's broad head pins the ray, jaws working quickly to tear through armored flesh. It is a display of precision and power, each movement honed by millions of years of evolutionary risk-taking. Every scar, every embedded barb is proof that the hammerhead's bizarre design is not a weakness. It is the calling card of a predator willing to take on the ocean's most dangerous prey, again and again. Inside the hammerhead's body, the rules of survival turn harsh. Pregnancy lasts nearly 11 months, almost a full year spent carrying a living cargo that grows from a yolk-fed embryo to a fully formed predator. The mother's body shifts from nourishing with a simple yolk sac to building a placenta, a structure that links her bloodstream to each pup. This is a rarity among sharks, a leap toward mammalian complexity in a world where most fish scatter eggs and move on. But the cost is high. Every pup delivered drains the mother's reserves, and the gamble pays off only if enough survive. A single litter can number as few as 6 or as many as 42. Each newborn stretches half a meter, already armed with the tools of a hunter. Yet the path to birth is brutal. Mating itself is violent. Males bite and grip the female, leaving scars that last for years. This aggression is not a sign of power, but a reminder that even apex predators pay a price for reproduction. The act is so taxing that many females breed only once every 2 years, limiting how quickly populations can recover from any threat. Sometimes the ocean writes its own rules. In 2007, scientists confirmed that a captive bonnethead shark produced a pup with no father. This was parthenogenesis, when the mother's egg fused with her own genetic material. It is a desperate measure, a last resort for survival when no mate can be found. But such miracles are rare, and they offer little hope against the slow grind of extinction. For all their strength, hammerheads are vulnerable where it matters most, in the womb, where every new life is a fragile bet against the odds. On the edge of the continental shelf, a team of researchers waits for a signal. A tagged, scalloped hammerhead slips beneath the surface, its transmitter pulsing, and begins its descent into darkness. Data streams in, the shark plunges past 800 meters, then 1,000 meters, far deeper than most sharks ever dare. At these depths, the water chills to just above freezing, and the pressure would crush anything not built for the abyss. But the hammerhead keeps going, a quiet descent into the void. The dive lasts 56 minutes. At first, the shark glides downward, muscles working in bursts, burning energy without the help of oxygen. Its gill slits clamp shut, sealing in precious heat, forcing the body to rely on anaerobic metabolism. For nearly an hour, the hammerhead becomes a cold-blooded paradox, a fish holding its breath, muscles burning hot in a world built for ice. At the bottom, the shark moves with frantic purpose, hunting for prey that never sees the light. Then, at 250 meters on the way up, the pattern shifts. Gill slits open, oxygen floods back in, and the body begins to clear the chemical debt of the deep. Migration data reveals a second layer of strangeness. One tagged hammerhead traveled 1,200 kilometers in just 62 days, crossing open ocean like a long-distance runner between invisible finish lines. These journeys, stitched together by bursts of impossible dives, hint at a life lived on the edge of what biology should allow. And then, in the farthest reaches of the Indo-Pacific, a silhouette appears. The winghead shark, its cephalofoil stretched to half its body length, glides through the gloom, a living question mark. No one knows what drives these extremes or what secrets the deep still holds. The hammerhead story ends not with answers, but with a final, unblinking stare into the unknown. Right now, hammerhead sharks face extinction risks across more than half of their species, despite 400 million years of evolutionary innovation. As overfishing and habitat loss escalate, their bizarre adaptations offer no defense against human impact. The true marvel is not just how hammerheads evolved, but whether we will act fast enough to let their mystery continue. What happens next is up to us. Share your thoughts in the comments below.